Today we are looking at what an angle is and how to measure it. The Google definition of an angle says the space usually measured in degrees between two intersecting lines or surfaces at or close to the point where they meet. So you can see here I have an example of two intersecting lines. This is line 1 here, and then the second line coming in. Where these two lines intersect is where we get our angle, and that's usually represented by this curved or semicircle. There are a number of different types of angles as seen on the diagram in front of us. They are all based on the measurement or the angle within inside the two intersecting lines. You can see there we have acute, right, obtuse, straight, reflex, and revolutions. These are all angles that we will be able to identify today after measuring our angles. Here is our first example of an unknown angle which we can measure. You can see here we have our two intersecting lines once again, and then the angle which we would like to measure. What I'm going to do is just take my protractor. Now this is the protractor down the bottom left here. And this is what's going to allow us to measure our angles. So there's a few steps that you need to know in order to use a protractor. We have down the bottom here the number 0. Okay, and this is our midpoint. And then you can see on the left-hand side here we also have the number 0. Okay. Now something really important to remember is that we always have that bottom 0 line across one of our intersecting lines, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So I'm going to grab my protractor and I'm going to move it so that my bottom line runs along my bottom intersecting line, so my bottom line of the two lines that are matching. You'll also notice that the middle point of my protractor is exactly where our two angles meet. Okay, so we have our bottom intersecting line running across the 0 line, which means all we need to do is follow our other intersecting line up until we're able to read what angle it's on. Now we are reading the blue because it's going up as 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and then we have 60 degrees. So the angle of these two intersecting lines is 60 degrees. So we know that the angle of our two intersecting lines is 60 degrees. We can come back to the top left where our table tells us what type of angle this is. You can see our angle is between 0 and 90 degrees, which means it is an acute angle. So the angle for example 1 is an acute angle. Here is our second example. This angle obviously is a little bit different, but once again we have our two intersecting lines with our angle in the middle which we would like to find out. So what we need to do, grab our protractor. Remember to always have your 0 line running across one of the lines within our two intersecting angles. So I'm going to put that 0 line onto my bottom intersecting angle, and then you'll notice that the midpoint of our protractor isn't in the middle of our two intersecting lines. So I'm going to put that right on the corner there. So 0 is running down this bottom line in the middle, and then we can just follow our second intersecting line up to our answer. Now this is a much larger angle. You can see again we're following the blue numbers, and it goes all the way up to 120 degrees. So the angle for these two intersecting lines is 120 degrees. We then go across to our table again, and you can see that it fits in to between 90 and 180 degrees, which means that this angle is an obtuse angle. Thank you for watching. Please stay tuned for more maths help.